on with the Motorpoint British Supersport Championship race and go over to our commentators, James Hayden and Jack Burnicle.
Alistair Seeley ran to a double victory here on his way to the British Supersport Championship in 2011, the occasion of our first visit to the revamped Snetterton 300 circuit. Can he do it again? He won yesterday fairly cleanly, actually, and can he do it again today? The fact that he's leading the championship at the moment by some 18 points ahead of Stuart Easton, who had a really poor day yesterday, having not tested here beforehand on the Martrain Yamaha, and 40 points adrift of the leader is Ben Wilson, teammate to Alistair Seeley, who we've just heard own up to the fact that they had a problem from about 4 laps in. He really did drop back fairly quickly, just clung on to 3rd place after being overtaken by Luke Mossey. So Ben Wilson will be hoping to improve on that. A misfiring gear-link Kawasaki was his problem yesterday. Billy McConnell desperate for a race win. He hasn't had one yet. A couple of seconds at the round at Brands Hatch. 44 points off the lead on the Smiths of Gloucester Triumph. Alistair Seeley, gear-link Kawasaki on 180 points, leads Stuart Easton by 18 points, Martrain Yamaha. Ben Wilson, gear-link Kawasaki, 3rd, 4 points ahead of Billy McConnell, Smith's Triumph. Graham Gowland on the Seaton Tuning Yamaha runs 5th, ahead of Glenn Irwin on 62 points in 6th. 7th for Glenn Richards, the reigning champion after his various injuries. Level with Jason O'Halloran, who had a good... not such a good run yesterday, I beg your pardon. Finished eventually on about 7th place. Jake Dixon is 9th. Richard Cooper is 10th, ahead of Taylor Mackenzie on the Tyco Suzuki. Luke Jones, Scott Smart, Luke Mossey, who had a brilliant outing, best result ever yesterday. Luke Stapleford, Dean Brown, Bjorn Esterman, David Payton, Sam Hornsey and Pauli Pekkanen. The starting grid looks like this. Alistair Seeley on pole position, ahead of Kawasaki teammate Ben Wilson, Jason O'Halloran's Samsung Honda and Billy McConnell's Smiths Racing Triumph, and then Graham Gowland heading up row 2 in front of Luke Mossey, Richard Cooper and the improving Glenn Irwin. Jake Dixon, what a race by him yesterday to get himself ahead of Taylor Mackenzie and in the starting grid. Stuart Easton and Glenn Richards, 2 former champions. Scott Smart, Luke Jones, Sam Hornsey and Luke Stapleford are on the 4th row of the grid. 26 starters in all. Back to John Simpson on row 7. But look at those 2 pristine gear-link Kawasaki's. Now, are they going to do the job there from the front? Well, little Alistair Seeley, we know how quick he is round here. But remember, Ben Wilson did the double at Knock Hill just a short while ago. Can he challenge his teammate?
Oh, a good start from all that front row. It looked especially good from O'Halloran, and yeah, it is O'Halloran. O'Halloran's got the whole shot.
Ben Wilson tucks inside his teammate, and that's a crucial move for Ben Wilson. He grabs that 2nd place in the wheel tracks of the blue Samsung Honda, and he's going to try and grab the lead. Oh, skittish manoeuvre down into the Melbourne hairpin, but it's worked. And I think Billy McConnell was putting the heavy hand on Alistair Seeley as well. So Ben Wilson leads the way. Seeley does cling on to that 3rd place. O'Halloran's blue Honda in between those 2 bright green Kawasaki's.
Yeah, then it was McConnell in 4th and Gowland in 5th. Gowland's having a look round McConnell. Is he going to go up the inside here? Foot off. Oh, it's someone else got up the inside, out of control. Oh, sorry, it was just about in control. That looked tight.
Well, I think Taylor Mackenzie, who's been struggling to really produce the goods here in Supersport, suddenly he was the guy who was putting on that harsh move, and Gowler responds to the young Scotsman on the Tyco Suzuki there with the red helmet. Gowland goes back through into that 5th place. Wow. So we got Mossey in that gang, and Taylor Mackenzie, well, he's certainly getting in. He's found a new spark of aggression here. Jake Dixon is running inside the top 10, the leader of the Privateers Cup Championship. Alistair Seeley through to 2nd place now, ahead of Jason O'Halloran, the Australian on the Samsung Honda.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether you heard, Jack, but obviously Ben Wilson had that problem. He had that misfire in yesterday's race. That was what dropped him back. So, you know, he seems really fired up today. You know, he feels the bike's obviously how he wants it to be. And it'll be interesting to see what he can do, because Alistair Seeley in the sprint race yesterday, you know, I mean, obviously Ben had that problem, but he really managed to break everyone. So it's going to, you look at Ben Wilson, he's done his usual thing. When Ben Wilson gets out in front on lap 1, he goes like the clappers. And what have we got here? Let's have a little look at his gap on lap 1. It is half a second. So half a second on lap 1.
There's Wilson, Seeley, O'Halloran, Mossey, Gowland 5th, Mackenzie 6th. Best ride of his life so far in this class. Ahead of Billy McConnell down in 7th, not where he wanted to be. Oh, Ben Wilson outbreaks himself completely at the Melbourne hairpin. Tries to rectify the problem straight away, but he's been lucky to get round the outside there into Palmer's.
These two teammates as well, 5 wins between them, and you know, they fought the championship before. You know, they had that cracking year, and look at Ben Wilson, he's straight back up. Oh, it looked like he was
Trying to be.
But look at this gang behind him as well. This is Ben Wilson, look at the leader, just gets into a bit too hot, can't hit the apex, but doesn't try, then squares it back off underneath and drives back up the inside.
So Seeley in the red helmet leads the way here. Ben Wilson in 2nd place. We're on the 2nd lap of what is going to be a fairly pulverising 15. There's Graham Gowland just ahead, I think, of an absolutely revitalised Taylor Mackenzie.
Yeah, I don't know what they put in his tea, but whatever it is working. It's great to see Taylor Mackenzie up there and on the top. Oh, what was that? Someone's belly pan came off. Was that O'Halloran's belly pan?
It looks blue.
That was very odd.
Yes, it's Jason O'Halloran's belly pan has flown off the Castrol-backed Samsung Honda.
God, that's amazing that everyone's all right. So it's bad to a belly pan. Obviously, it's not. It's going to change the aerodynamics a little bit. Yeah,
it hasn't slowed him down. He's nipped past Ben Wilson in the process of losing the belly pan.
It's just really whether, you know, anything else. I mean, it's amazing. It hasn't damaged it. Often, if you do run over your belly pan, it splinters a little bit. It can puncture the tyre, but it looks like he's got away with it.
Look at Billy McConnell. Oh, watch this.
He pulls out and wow, look at that. Just goes 50 foot in the air.
Good job, Billy McConnell. Did I call him McConnell? Billy McConnell has actually slammed his way through the pack here. Look at the bright pink helmet. He's gone from nowhere to 4th place, challenging Ben Wilson. Well, he said that he wasn't good on the opening laps. He's let himself down a little bit, but he's trying to regroup now on the 3rd of 15 laps.
They've got to be quite careful here with Alistair Seeley, because Seeley, you know, I mean, obviously the one question is, can anyone stick with Seeley around here? Because he was so good here. You know, he's been so good here previously. You know, he dominated that year, didn't he, on the Suzuki? And he dominated yesterday, but if they're going to do anything, they've got to try and go with him now. And McConnell's up to 3rd there.
McConnell now snapping at the heels of Jason O'Halloran as they go round Williams. He's got the better. Look at that remarkably naked-looking Samsung Honda. And Billy was wide though going out of Williams. That gave Ben Wilson the chance to drag in, and black-orange flag for number 22. So, James, presumably he's not allowed to continue the race in that condition.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it might be a concern. It's up to the organisers whether they think it's, you know, when they think it's dangerous, you're meant to have your body work on the bike to compete. I mean, obviously, you know, he's going to be gutted that...
Javier Beltran's going to be looking around that garage in some disbelief.
Well, that's right,
you know, boys.
Because obviously something is, you know, it's most likely that someone's actually forgot to do some of those fasteners up, or forgot to take them, or something.
Billy McConnell has dropped back a little on that lap. He's getting challenged now as they cross the line. Here we go, Seeley, O'Halloran, number 15 Wilson, number 3 Billy McConnell, Luke Mossey it is who's charged through in the wheel tracks of the other Triumph, past Graham Gowland in 6th, Taylor Mackenzie 7th, Glenn Irwin 8th, Jake Dixon leading the Cup Championship 9th, the defending champion Glenn Richards in 10th.
Slightly ominous sign in that O'Halloran's just seen it. He's just seen it. He probably doesn't even know he's lost it. So he probably thinks he's got an oil leak. And he did really well, though. As soon as he saw it, he was straight off the track. So, you know, good observation from him, but just unlucky on that. Here he is. So
Jason, I tell you what, you've got to say at the moment that if the lad from Wollongong didn't have any bad luck, he'd have no luck at all at the moment.
Right.
So he just goes down into kind of prayer mode at the side of the track. Very good of him to pull off quite so sharply, but I suppose he wouldn't know what the problem was, and it could obviously be something that might infest the track.
Exactly, that's exactly what you have to do. As soon as he saw, he was out, hand up, off the track, and that's the right thing to do, because your bike could be dropping off.
I think Gowland has got back through into 4th place. He has on the red. Look at that fearful riding style through Williams on to straight. There he is, Graham Gowland, number 81, former British under-21 motocross champion. And do you know, we were talking just earlier today about great all-rounders in different disciplines of the sport, and it just occurred to me that Gowler is actually quite a contender.
Yeah, he is indeed. That's Mossy right behind him. Mackenzie's just sort of dropped off the picture a little bit from these guys after that great start from him.
He seems to be lapping at reasonable pace. Perhaps he just made a mistake and he's now back in the clutches of Glenn Irwin. But that is, we're looking there at the 3rd, 4th and 5th place men. Graham Gowland, of course, has been very consistent but hasn't yet managed to nail a rostrum, James.
No, well, until yesterday with Luke Mossy, only the top 4 in the championship, Seeley, Easton, Wilson and McConnell, had been on the podium. They've shared every single one until Mossy yesterday, who's jumped to 14th after that.
But the super cool local man from Cambridge is running there in 5th place at the moment. There he is, Luke Mossy, looking round the outside of Gowland, dropping a little too deep into the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, you can see that 52.2 fastest lap of the race for the leader, Alistair Seeley. He's now pushed it up to 1.4 seconds, and to be honest, he's going to check out. I can't see him getting it after this.
Do you know what this is bad news for? Stuart Easton, Martrain Yamaha, is loitering in 13th place, just ahead of Sam Hornsey and Luke Stapleford.
Yeah.
This is the day that his championship chances have taken a severe turn for the worse, James.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do damage limitation. I did go and see them because I was a bit confused as to why, Stuart Easton, the man who's won more races than anyone this year, the man who's been so strong in the championship, and just to find out what was going on. He's a little bit unwell, he's got a bit under the weather with a cold and stuff, and it is a little bit in the bike, so a slightly curious mix for Stuart here this weekend.
We glimpsed Dean Brown there, number 7, having the lad from Motherwell having a strong ride in 12th place at the moment, behind Richards, Jones and Scott Smart, and just ahead of Stuart Easton, Sam Hornsey and Luke Stapleford. That's rounding out the point scorers. This is Graham Gowland putting pressure on Billy McConnell. So Gowland and the Seaton Tuning Yamaha boys have obviously really found something with the R6 this weekend. We're on the 5th of 15 laps, so just coming up to 1/3 race distance.
Yeah, now look, it looks to me, we have to keep an eye on this gap as well, from Billy in 3rd to Ben Wilson in 2nd. So at the moment, what have we got there? Okay, it's a gap of it's just reset itself.
It has, because that's a new fastest lap of the race for Ben Wilson, 1:52.095. Oh, we've got a faller. Someone's gone down. That might be Dean Brown. It might be the Colin Appleyard macadam bike.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Bjorn Estman. His teammate Bjorn Estman has gone down. So
certainly one of the Appleyard Yamahas.
That's, well, I'm truly sorry, Bjorn, but Dean Brown, it would have been. Oh wow, that was a hard hit. By you guys, you don't have to have some shoulder padding on, don't you? You don't have to go down with a bang when the front goes like that, James.
Yeah, no, it does happen.
So the marshals race to pick up Bjorn Estman, and that means that he's obviously out of the race. The lad from South Africa on the team, Colin Appleyard macadam Yamaha. This is Alistair Seeley. He's leading the way on the 6th of 15 laps, ahead of his tramping teammate Ben Wilson. Then Billy McConnell. Then those two, Graham Gowland and Luke Skywalker Mossy, in the very, very local boy from just down the road in Cambridge, could go back home, virtually go back home and sleep in his own bed last night. Yeah. Finished 2nd in the Superstock 600 Championship, back in 2009. And he's still only just 20 years old, Luke Mossy. He's always shown a lot of promise.
He has, and it was a terrific ride yesterday. He's still learning a lot, as you do. He's only 20, and we've seen him obviously, sling it down the road a bit like you do when you're young, but he's always been pushing at the front. And obviously that brilliant 2nd place yesterday. He's pushing in 5th place here today. And there's Dixon.
I was going to say, talk about brilliance. Look at this. Is Jay Dixon, the Privateers Cup leader from Dover on the CF Motorsport Yamaha, getting the better there of Taiko Suzuki's Taylor Mackenzie, and moving through into 6th place. That's impressive from that kid.
Very impressive. He didn't get a great start either. No, that's why it was nice to go and work with him on the grid. Obviously his dad, Darren Dixon, a champion in his own right. Fantastic rider as well.
Well, Darren Dixon was amazing because he was a champion on 2 wheels and 3.
Yeah, I know. And and he's really, Jake Dixon's got that same thing. He's got a nice style. He's working really hard at it. And remember, that's a cut bike. He used doing a terrific job. 9th overall in the main championship, and obviously leading the cup.
And look at the boys he's leading. Taylor Mackenzie, and then right behind them there, Glenn Irwin in the leading Martrain Yamaha, Glenn Richards, Smith's Racing Triumph, and Luke Jones, number 82, are the guys right behind him.
It's also been interesting at the front, Seeley and Wilson, they've matched each other exactly on that lap. Oh, look at that. Last lap comparison, 1:52 zeros.
A hundredth of a second.
Yeah, and the last lap, Wilson actually took a couple of tenths. The gap between them is 1.2 seconds. So we'll keep a very close eye on that. Seeley, you think, is a clever old thing. He's going to manage it, you know, but you never know. If Wilson's been feeling in the groove, feels he can push and make up that gap, still a lot of time left in this race.
So Alistair Seeley, I like the idea of describing him as a cagey old thing, but of course he rose to the top relatively late in life. He was more or less pushing into his 30s when he really began to make an impact in the British Superbike paddock.
Yeah, it doesn't matter his age either. He's hungry, he's good, he's riding as good as he ever has, and you know, when it's like that, you know, the age is irrelevant. There he is. Oh no, sorry, that was Wilson. I'm so interested to see what that gap is going to be on this lap. Whether who's won that gap. Let's have a look at it. It's 1.2 at the moment between the leaders.
1.439, and it just eased away a bit there. The wee wizard from Carrickfergus, who's a neighbour of the Irwin family, of course, Glenn, Alan and Graham. And there is Glenn Irwin, number 2. There's Glenn Richards behind him. And then behind them we've got Luke Jones and Scott Smart. Then Dean Brown, number 7. Number 20, Luke Stapleford, just hanging on in case of Stuart Easton. There is Stuart Easton.
14 for Easton.
He's dropped a place and he's just ahead of Sam Hornsey now, number 94, on the RLR Motorsport Suzuki. Just about the only Suzuki in the race besides, in fact, the only Suzuki in the race besides Taylor Mackenzie.
Yeah, so Easton there, remember, this is the man second in the championship who's had 4 wins, 2 seconds, 1/3.
He can't be feeling himself, you're right. It's not just the bike, is it? He's obviously feeling under the weather. And Sam Hornsey is now, the lad from Shropshire, is really tackling Stuart Easton at the moment. Easton just 14th. Well, he could do with getting at least a point or two before the long drive home to Hike.
Yeah, no, it's really damaged limitation for him today, because yeah, that is for his and the team's exceptionally high standards. He's going to be very, very disappointed, and whether he's feeling terrible or not, I know he's feeling terrible, but whatever, he's going to be disappointed.
Must be hard in this heat, James, if you are feeling under the weather.
No, of course.
And I've got a feeling Sam Hornsey almost had him there, but not quite. There's Glenn Richards tailing Glenn Irwin. Yeah, they are running in 8th and 9th place.
Glenn's shoulder still really playing it up. He can't lift it high above. He's damaged that rotator cuff and the head of his humerus, and he's really still struggling with that injury, Glenn. And he says it's so frustrating because the bike's quite good now, but it's just all the injury that's holding him back. But he thinks in 3 weeks' time for Brands, he should be about there.
And he's in sight of his 40th birthday. It's about time he packed this in. The 9th lap of 15 here at Snetterton. There goes Jake Dixie Dixon. There's number 2, Glenn Irwin, with Glenn Richards, his namesake, right behind him there. The bikes may look a similar colour, but that's the Martrain Yamaha leading the Smiths of Gloucester Racing Triumph. And right behind them, Luke Jones, the former 125 GP champ, just plugging away there, keeping right in touch with them, ahead of Scott Smart and Dean Brown.
Look at that, 1:51.9. That's the first man into the 51 from Seeley there, and that's just done it now. 2.1 seconds, and you kind of get the feeling when you're as experienced as Alistair Seeley, you're not going to let a gap like that, get pulled in. I think Ben Wilson should probably just hold his second, just concentrate on that second. McConnell's there in 3rd. Then we're looking at Gowland, who's under a little bit of pressure in 4th from Bossy behind him.
Alistair Seeley's lap record from 2 years ago, 1:51.579 on the Taz Relentless Suzuki. Would it just be the sheer heat of today that's keeping him just outside that lap record?
Yeah, no, it's just it's funny, but sometimes in this the heat, the tyres just get a bit more slimy, almost a bit more slippy, and you just lose that little fraction of grip. And in the early laps, you might have been able to pop one in, but then again, it's difficult because you've got a big fuel load, and so it's just one of those ones. Rarely, when it's this hot, do you see lap records go. 45 degrees. That's the track temperature. Unbelievable, isn't it? And also the engines are slower. You know, when it's, you know, that's the other big thing as well, of course. You know, when it is this hot, you know, the way that the way that they work, the mixture, it changes, and they become a little bit slower than they do on a cool, fresh day.
Number 12, Luke Mossey there on the Tech Care Profile Triumph 675 triple. There's the other 675 triple running at the front. Billy McConnell in third place. Sandwiched between them is the Seat and Tuning Yamaha, that red machine of Graham Gowland. And Gowler has not yet achieved a rostrum this year. He's come close. He got fourth place at Knock Hill. Yeah. He's running fourth at the moment. He's been super consistent, but never quite made it onto the rostrum yet.
No, he's finished every race, and you know, he's just been that fraction off, isn't he? And we're only talking a fraction at the moment. Well, you know, he's 0.6 of a second off Billy McConnell. That's the difference between a podium and or not.
Seeley, incidentally, has almost 2.5 seconds advantage at the front, and he's just crept back into the 152s now. Put that one scalding lap in, the wee wizard, to give himself a bit of a gap. And then here are his pursuers. This is Gowland ahead of Luke Mossey. Behind them, we've got Jake Dixon having a mega ride in 6th place. Taylor Mackenzie 7th. Glenn Richards past Glenn Owen into 8th place. 10th place for Luke Jones. 11th for Scott Smart. 12th place for Luke Stapleford now. Dean Brown, Stuart Easton and Sam Hornsey round out the point scorers. And just outside of them, Dean Hipwell. And number 113, Rob Guyver, is the reigning Triumph Triple Champion in his debut season in Supersport. And Chinrod's having a good ride there ahead of Voskamp, who's a former Dutch Supersport champion who's making his first appearance in the British Supersport Championship.
Well, someone's offline there, so someone's got a bit of a problem.
Yeah, someone's pulling in. Is that what it is? Was it someone being lapped or someone just cooling off there?
Try and make it out.
Oh, I think it might be a problem for Sam Hornsey and his Suzuki. He's been having such a spirited ride there, running with Stuart Easton. It could be that it's Hornsey who's drifted off there and pulled over to the side of the track. We check them across the line. Dixon crosses the line in 6th. Mackenzie still having a strong ride in 7th. But Richards and Luke Jones are on his case. Glenn Owen's been squeezed back to 10th place.
Yeah, I really just, you know, Stuart Easton there, who's the man we're looking at, number 5, second in the championship.
He's been overtaken by Dean Hipwell. He's back to 15th now on bike number 5. Just 1 point available for him. The next man up is Rob Guyver. So we did lose the luckless Sam Hornsey there, the tall boy from Shropshire, unluckily going out of the race on the 11th of 15 laps. And there is Dean Hipwell having a strong ride, number 74 from Doncaster on the Global Net Telecom CDH Racing Triumph, getting the better former British Supersport champion. Alistair Seeley then, 10th lap. 11th lap, I beg your pardon. 2/3 race distance, and Alistair Seeley from Carrickfergus there is now 4.5 laps from victory, leading by just a whisker under 3 seconds from his teammate, Lincolnshire's very own Ben Wilson.
Yeah, he's ruled this racetrack this weekend, and you know, it's not like he's had it easy. He's just crept, you know, not massive chunks. He's just worked away, chipped away, 10th here, a couple of tenths there, and till suddenly, you know, he's got this, well, as he has now, like a 2.9 second lead, 3 second lead, and you know, he's just looking so sharp. He has from day one on that Gearlink Kawasaki. He's looked absolutely superb on it, and this will give him a fourth win, which will draw him level with Easton for wins now. They'll have four apiece, and the only other man to win, of course, will be Ben Wilson.
Signed by Gearlink Kawasaki for this year, of course, this man who won his first Irish Supersport Championship back in 2004, and then became Irish Superbike champion the year after, and then was the double champion, Irish Supersport and Superbike champion 2006, before he first ventured over to the mainland for a British Superstock appearance in 2007. Alistair Seeley leads the way, Ben Wilson in 2nd place, Billy McConnell is 3rd, then Graham Gowland just looks as if he's beginning to ease away slightly, but only just, from Luke Mossey in 5th. 6th place goes to Jake Dixon, really having the ride of his season so far. Taylor Mackenzie looks as if he's got enough of a gap on Glenn Richards and Luke Jones. There's number 3, Billy McConnell. McConnell's an oddball in that he's an Australian who doesn't seem to fancy the hot weather that much, isn't he? And that was a fast lap of Billy McConnell's on the last lap. He's dragging himself up towards Ben Wilson now. Look, there is Wilson, yes. There's McConnell. He did a 152.3, his fastest lap of the race on the last lap, and he's trying to close the door there, close the gap on the second of the Gearlink Kawasaki's.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He really is pushing very hard now. He can see that was whether or not Wilson made a mistake, or whether he's just backed it off a little bit, trying to consolidate with second. It's just given Billy McConnell enough to think, I'm going to hang on a second here. I might be able to do something here.
On the 12th of 15 laps, so Skippy McConnell from Adelaide has 3 laps left to make an impression here. The former Yamaha R6 Cup champion back in the day. It's great. I love seeing McConnell when he really gets tramping on like this.
Yeah, well, they actually match each other on that lap. They both did a 152.6 compared to Seeley's 152.1. So the men in second and third. So definitely Wilson responded.
Yeah. There's Wilson, number 15, in second place. Here comes Billy McConnell, a former runner-up, of course, in this championship in 2009. Finished second behind Steve Plater. 3 wins that year, but none of them here at Snetterton. And has been third for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
so he's very, very impressive consistency in this championship, Billy McConnell.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's proved that he's one of the fastest guys. He's won races every year. He's been on the podium. He's been in the podium in the championship. So he's been you need a little bit of luck as well, and to make the right decision sometimes. But he's been very unlucky not to have won it so far.
McConnell was actually leading the Australian 600cc Superstock Championship back in 2004 when he was invited over for a one-off 1,000 Superstock race at Mallory Park, and he got himself on pole position and won it. I beg your pardon, the Superstock Cup round at Mallory Park, and that meant that he was kind of tempted to come over here and really try and make his mark in the UK, and he's certainly done that. So, we've got Dixon, is that Dixon? That must be Dixon. It is Dixon. Jake Dixon was having a terrific ride, leader of the Supersport Cup, the 17-year-old from Dover, down in the deep southeast, and he's out. Oh, I hope he's all right. He's winded himself a bit there, hasn't he? Oh, and it's gone off going on to the back straight, James. Oh, that doesn't look great. He's only 17. Perhaps he'll bounce back from that. We hope so. So that elevates Mackenzie to 6th place, Richards to 7th, Jones to 8th, Irwin to 9th, and Scott Smart into the top 10.
Yeah. Well, he's up and walking, but obviously you can see he's taking a real big bash there. So.
Well, that's pretty quick, isn't it, that exit to as you come swooping out of Williams. You're trying to really get your speed up for the straight there.
And that's a big high side as well if he goes there.
14th of 15 laps, Alistair Seeley, Ben Wilson, Billy McConnell, Graham Gowland and Luke Mossey, with Taylor Mackenzie now re-elevated into 6th place, which is a good solid ride for Taylor Mackenzie. He showed a lot of aggression early on.
Yeah, and we should, you're quite right, Jack. I think we should mention that, because it is it's a big change, isn't it? It's a big step up.
His best position so far is 9th.
Yeah.
So if he hits this 6th place, we're on the penultimate lap now, then that's going to be pretty impressive.
But also only 16 seconds off the win. Yeah, it's roughly a second a lap. That's also much closer to...
Especially when that winner is Alistair galloping away with it, Seeley. There's McConnell running in 3rd place. Gowland is still on the case behind him there as he screams through Williams and onto the back straight. Luke Mossey on his triumph, running in 5th place.
And this won't do any harm to his championship as well, Luke Mossey, having another strong ride here today. 2nd yesterday and 5th. It's going to help get him up.
So on the penultimate lap then of the 2nd of the British Supersport races here at Snetterton.
Oh no, sorry,
that's Luke Jones. That's Luke Jones and Ben Richards.
Yeah.
Good ride, but Luke Jones continues to impress me on these. He won the Supersport Cup. Well, hang on, did he win it? He was in a huge season-long battle with Glenn Irwin last season in the Supersport Cup. And presently on the KGD Honda, the lad from Hereford running very, very strongly. He's got past Glenn Richards into 7th place.
Yeah, that is a nice ride from Luke Jones there. Probably Glenn as well. You see Glenn, he's probably at this point in the race, he's feeling it the most as well.
Stuart Easton has recovered a little. He's got back in front of Dean Hipwell. He was just behind Dean Brown on the way into the final lap, so Hipwell back to 14th place. 15th now for the former Dutch champion then, Voskamp. Stuart Voskamp from the Netherlands on the... I can never remember how to pronounce that Dutch beer, that Chinese beer. Could you tell me? No, you obviously can't. Something like that. WK Bikes Performance Suzuki, anyway. That was actually the third Suzuki in the race. I didn't realise we had 3 in the race, and 2 of them running in the top 15 in the points at the moment.
But it's been all about this man, hasn't it, Jack? You know, dominated yesterday. He's going to grab this win. It's over 5 seconds now for Alistair Seeley. Just a real strong win. Equals Stuart Easton's record win so far for the season. He's going to have 4, and just more importantly, put a really big chunk of points in over him. So he's going to give himself, he'll probably have over 40 points lead now in the championship after this.
So Alistair Seeley then drops into the final lap, goes round Corum's curve here. The kid who won the Norman Watt Ulster Motocross Championship back in 1996 and finished runner-up in the Ulster Grass Track Championship. He obviously doesn't mind a bike skittling around underneath him. And he's now going to win once again here at Snetterton, doing the double. He did it in 2011 for Suzuki. He does it today at Snetterton for Gearlink Kawasaki. So a great ride by Alistair Seeley. He says he likes winning and chilling. Well, there's half of it. He's won. 2nd place to Ben Wilson. 3rd place, Billy McConnell. 4th place, a great pursuit by Graham Gowland on the Seton Tuning Yamaha.
What a great...
Meanwhile, the Dubiduffs can enjoy celebrating yet another race victory.
Yeah, they can. What a great double, 1-2 for them, so that's fantastic.
That was a very nice celebration. We enjoyed that. Luke Mossey 5th, Taylor Mackenzie 6th, 7th for Luke Jones, 8th for the wounded Glenn Richards, 9th for Glenn Irwin, 10th place for Scott Smart. And I reckon Easton's not going to get better than unlucky 13th as he comes across the line now. So, the smitten championship contender and former champion, Stuart Easton, a crestfallen 13th, 3 points for him. That means that Alistair Seeley will have certainly cleared off in the championship, and Stuart Easton will be under a little bit of threat now from the 2nd place, Ben Wilson. Alistair Seeley has always ridden number 34. He's seesawed, of course, between British Superbikes and British Supersport in the last 4 years.
Oh, he's on you. Give us a big smile. He's on you.
Norma giving us the big smile. That's what we like to see. Thank you very much. Alistair Seeley, who, if you remember, was a British Supersport champion in 2011. He was Rookie of the Year in 2010, of course, in BSB when he finished 6th overall. Went back into BSB in 2012 and finished only 13th overall, and then came back to absolutely clean up the British Supersport Championship in a colossal battle throughout with Ben Wilson, who is now his teammate. Billy McConnell gets 3rd place, another rostrum for Skippy. So the results of that race: Alistair Seeley's Gearlink Kawasaki ahead of teammate Ben Wilson, eventually fairly comfortably. Billy McConnell in front of the dashing Graham Gowland for 3rd place. 5th place for Luke Mossey, following up his 2nd place yesterday. And a season's best 6th for Taiko Suzuki's Taylor Mackenzie. A Scotsman, of course, born in Stirling as his dad demands. Luke Jones in 7th place, Glenn Richards 8th, 9th for Glenn Irwin, 10th for Scott Smart on the Oxford Tag Triumph. We lost his teammate Richard Cooper somewhere through that race. Luke Staple ahead of Dean Brown on the Colin Appleyard Macadam Racing Yamaha. Stuart Easton Martrain Yamaha finishes only 13th ahead of Dean Hipwell and Stuart Voskamp from the Netherlands, with Rob Guyver just outside the points ahead of Adam Blacklock. And those are the finishers. The unlucky Jake Dixon and the even more unfortunate Sam Hornsey went out in the closing stages. So the championship standings will look rather like this. Alistair Seeley burns away to a 40-point lead at the top of the championship. 5 points now separate Stuart Easton from Ben Wilson, and Wilson just 8 points ahead of Billy McConnell. Graham Gowland moves into the 3 figures on 109 for Seton Tuning Yamaha, ahead of Glenn Irwin on the 2nd Martrain Yamaha, who is just 4 points clear of Glenn Richards in 7th. Jason O'Halloran, desperately unfortunate, the Australian from Wollongong, drops to 8th. Taylor Mackenzie, ripping right from him, pushes it into the top 10 in 9th past Richard Cooper. 11th for Jake Dixon, ahead of 12th placed Luke Jones. Luke Mossey now 13th after 2 good rides this weekend. Scott Smart 14th. And rounding out the top 20, Luke Stapleford, Dean Brown, Bjorn Estbent, David Payton, Sam Hornsey and Pauli Pekkanen. A great start for the front 3 on the grid as they try and sort themselves out into the first turn, and it's the dashing Jason O'Halloran who gets there first ahead of the bright green Kawasaki's. But he's very quickly overtaken, and then a big mistake by Ben Wilson, runs really deep into the Melbourne hairpin, and at that point on, despite all his efforts, the number 15 Keelan Kawasaki can't get back on terms with his teammate. So Seeley has the lead, and then this dramatic moment when the belly pan of the blue Samsung Honda of Jason O'Halloran flies into the air. Thankfully doesn't hit anybody. Well, that means that O'Halloran will receive a penalty. He'll get the black flagged. He'll have to leave the race through not having the bodywork on the bike. What a chase, boys. There's nothing you can say about Jason O'Halloran's ill fortune at the moment. It just keeps on coming. A heavy fall from Bjorn Estbent at Murray's. But no such problem for number 34, Alistair Seeley. Goes on his merry way ahead of Ben Wilson and the hard-charging Billy McConnell, the equally hard-charging Graham Gowland in 4th. Alistair Seeley did the double here on his way to the championship in 2011. Is that some kind of omen of what's to come? Because he did it again, this time for Keelan Kawasaki in 2013. 2nd place for Ben Wilson. 3rd place, Billy McConnell. An extended championship lead then for the wee wizard from Carrickfergus.
We're here with our 3rd place finisher, Billy McConnell. Billy, we were just talking before they came to us about Jason O'Halloran's belly pan coming off the Samsung Honda, and you said it happened right in front of you. Yeah,
it's one way to distract some other riders, but no, yeah, definitely. I was just tucked in down the slipstream, and I just see this big blue thing flying up in the air with Castro on it, so I knew it was Jason's belly pan, and yeah, lucky it didn't hit anyone. I guess it's quite light as well. It just took off. Shows you the speed we're doing down the straight. But
light or not, it doesn't matter if that got you in the face. You'd certainly, it'd sting, wouldn't it? It'd sting tomorrow. Let's talk about your race, because you had a hell of a first few laps. To be fair, you had a pretty duff start, and then you just had to hack your way back through them.
Yeah, we got a smaller rear sprocket on the rear to what we normally run. So take it off the start, and we shortened the wheelbase right up, so it just wants to wheelie straight away, and it's also a little bit doughy, so it's right on the clutch. So yeah, got a terrible start, and then had to work my way through it, and just as I caught on the back of Ben, I thought, oh great, because yesterday I just got dropped too early on, and I thought, yeah, I'm right in the mix. And then as you go down the main back straight where Jason's belly pan come off, you go down 3 gears there into 2nd for me, and as you flick right, you go down an extra gear. As I flick down the gear, you're going from 2nd to 1st, so there's a neutral area there, and I didn't blip it, so I went into neutral, and I did it twice in a row. So just a bit of my bad for not blipping, I guess. Just a bit excited.
Well, excited is one thing, but a podium is quite the other. You must be very happy then with your 3rd place finish, given everything that you had to contend with.
Yeah, you know, obviously I want to get and beat the Kawasaki's, but Alistair was on another planet this weekend, so fair play to him. And Ben did what he had to do, and yeah, we really want some race wins. So Brands Hatch, I think, will suit this new bike good, and it's getting better and better. So big credit to Triumph Factory, as well as the Smiths team and all my other sponsors, because they're working day and night to get me where I am.
Looking forward to seeing you out there at Brands Hatch. We'll let you go to the podium. Well done. Billy McConnell there, 3rd place finisher now. 2nd place finisher is Ben Wilson. Well, Ben, you were there for a lot more, for a lot longer than you were yesterday. I'm assuming that the misfire was solved.
Yeah, the misfire was solved, and I tried to go with Alistair at the start, and we come together at the start, and then I just tried to push as hard as I can, and then I seemed to make a couple of mistakes, went back to like 4th or something, then fought my way back up, and for a couple of laps I was catching Alistair, and to be honest, I just spent my tyre really quite early, and with this temperature you can't afford to do that. Alistair's a lot, you know, he's a smoother rider probably than what I am, and it makes it different on this sort of circuit, but you know, it's good for us, it's good for the team. You know, we've caught 2nd place up, we will a little bit more now, so hopefully we can move on to the next one. But big thanks to my team, massive, you know, they put a brilliant bike under me and Alistair to get a 1-2 this weekend. All my sponsors, Val Livestock, Shark Helmets, Tim Todd Services, and everyone else who's helped me along the way. You know, it's a massive thanks to everybody.
Just before you go, and as a race fan, and I'm sure everybody at home are looking forward to Brands Hatch next round. You and Alistair have had some good old ding-dongs there. You looking forward to that too?
Yeah, for sure. You know, we've had some fantastic races there. You know, in 2011, you know, we lost the championship there, so I want to go there and I want to just stamp my authority as well. But we'll get there and we'll see how we get on. But we'll attack it every other weekend. We knew this weekend was going to be Alistair's circuit, and you know, he's done the double here. But you know, we'll try our best at the next round to see if we can do something else.
Really look forward to it. Well done, Ben. We'll let you go to the podium. Ben Wilson will make his way up to the podium. And now the man who, 5 seconds, the win here, second win of the weekend, Alistair Seeley. They didn't know which way you went, boy.
Yeah, it was nice to come to a circuit we knew we were going to be strong at. We done that test last week, which was very beneficial. We got a good set and then just came here and tried to work on it. Changed compound with the front tyre. Felt even better, and now I have the front on rails with the bike. So, you know, fair credit to my crew, Aaron and Damien, and Gearlink Kawasaki, you know, for giving me this bike. It took a while just to get the best, but I think now I've got the best out of it. We worked out how to get the best out of the tyres. So it was an exciting race there. First lap, off the start, me and Ben banged elbows, and then I got by with Halloran down the back straight, and then Ben went deep into the hairpin, and we both came out side by side. And it was just whoever let the brakes off latest into turn 3, and he let them off just a bit too late, up the inside, and then I just tried to control the race from there. I seen +1 on my board for a long, long time, and I thought it's not a big enough gap for if I just ease off. So I just put the head down, rattled off some more low 52 laps, brought the gap up. It was just creeping up, and then that was me sort of comfortable and rolled off to the end.
You were comfortable, it looked comfortable, it was a supreme performance. We'll let you go to the podium and enjoy the champagne. Well done.
Okay, thank you.
Alistair Seeley there, our race winner. Another win for Gearlink Kawasaki, and as he said, great for the team as well. The Kawasaki boys bagging 1 and 2 on the podium. Billy McConnell is 3rd on the podium. He makes his way up there now. Jack will take us through it.
Well, what a dominant performance by Alistair Seeley, who at 17 years old, with his friends going to the pubs and going out for drinks, he said women became interesting to me then, and his motocross career took a back seat. He packed in for a few years, but then his dad Joe suggested he tried the tarmac circuit, and they put together a dirt cheap 125 Honda in the middle of 2000, and he finished 3rd in the Irish Club Championship in his 2nd year of racing. So the wee wizard was already looking pretty impressive then, as the two Bidelfs, Mr and Mrs, go and join their boys at the top of the podium, and Sam Nicholson of Motor Point presents the trophies. A great ride then, dominant ride by